the estradiol is, the more brain protection the woman's going to get, as well as the longer she's on it and the sooner she's on it when she's in menopause, the more benefit.
If you remember, I don't know if you heard this episode, Dr. Lindsay Berkson, and she's been treating women through menopause for, I think, 4 decades now. She said you want to look at your FSH level, and that's for brain protection. Don't quote me on this, but it definitely was under 20. She's a 5. So I think she kind of really wants it under 20. And how do you get it under 20? Well, you take more estradiol, but of course, balancing out all the hormones as you go along. But the FSH was a marker that she was looking at for brain protection. All right. Well, I am super excited to have my Meno bestie, Karen Martel, on the show again. Welcome.
The Meno besties are here once again. We need to maybe just start doing a podcast together one of these days, Zora, because we like to do them so often.
I know I've had you on so many times, and you're just so easy to speak with, and my community absolutely loves you. You break down hormones and menopause so easily. And I asked you to come on very last minute. So thank you for doing this. I'm so grateful. You pulled the stops for me because I know how busy you are. But the idea we had was let's ask our community what they want to know about and what questions they have. So this is a Q&A. This is what we're going to do is we pulled out the questions. I asked the girls in my community and Instagram and my own private community and chat groups, wherever I'm at, and I pulled them together. I think we got about 10 questions more or less, and we're just going to kind of go through them, you and me together, and just help guide women who have the same question. I know these kind of questions pop up all the time. And I'm glad the first one is about progesterone because you had the best episode on progesterone. I'll share that one in the show notes because you take such a deep dive into progesterone, which we won't be able to do today because we have to go through other questions.
I'm going to do another one soon because
Really?
out of all the questions that I get sent, I think the most are probably around progesterone, which I think is so interesting.
How interesting. I think maybe because there is this impression that progesterone is safer than estrogen. And maybe some women go, let's start there first. Oh, I'll take that. Or I can get that online easily. I don't need a doctor's prescription. So it's possible that's the reason. That's my guess.
Yeah, I think a lot of that. Plus, there's so much talk, and one of the questions is about this is cycling progesterone. And you and I have done an episode on that before on your show. And the oral kind of versus transdermal, there's lots of controversy. And anyways, there's all this stuff kind of coming out that I'm hearing practitioners saying. Like I just heard yesterday, Zora, a very well-known expert saying that we produce anywhere from 200 to 2,200 milligrams of progesterone as women in a day.
In premenopausal state?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so what we've always been told is around 25. That's what John Lee, who wrote all the books about progesterone, that's what he came out and said. And now there's these particular practitioners, there's two of them that I know of, that are saying like, that's wrong, we produce a lot more, et cetera, et cetera. So I have spent hours combing PubMed, combing all of the research, Perplexity, everywhere I can go, ChatGPT, you name it, Google, trying to find that information. I can't find it anywhere. I do not see that that's like anywhere that women produce that much progesterone unless they're pregnant.
Yes. But maybe
So
that's what they meant.
no, it's not. I've followed up on this. No, it's not. And so it makes me, I'm like, where are they getting this information? Is there any truth to this? And I'm not seeing it in the science. Like there's nowhere. So I don't know if they kind of came up with this number on their own because I mean, not everything is, as we know, women's health is under-researched immensely. And so maybe this is something that they've kind of come to the conclusion of by pulling together a whole bunch of different information. but this isn't fact. It's not actually in the medical textbooks and what have you.
But
So I don't
maybe this is
know.
what they're seeing. Maybe they're testing through their clients, and that's what they're seeing. It's possible. I mean, again, it's not the
But
research,
no,
but
that's not true because look at, I have run thousands of tests on
yeah.
fertile women, non-fertile women. It's never that high.
What's the highest that you've seen it with your clients?
It's not in milligrams, so it's hard to do. I'd have to pull up the conversion thing,
Uh-huh.
but it's usually, but in the peak of progesterone days in your luteal phase, you're looking at, I think it is 8 to 11 is kind of standard of how much you're going to have in your body. That's not in milligrams though. That's in,
Yeah.
maybe it's in nanograms. I can't remember. I
Oh,
have to look it up.
yeah. I think it's
Yeah,
nanograms per ml. I
I feel
think.
like it is too. Yeah.
Yeah. But we should know this. I can't remember, but it
Well,
is.
there's also different labs have different measurements, right? So Canadians are different than Americans. Like
Mhm.
what we do PMOL, picogram per millimoles in Canada for estrogen. US does picograms per milliliter
Mhm.
or nanograms per nanomoles or the testosterone. So everybody,
Yeah.
there's many different. And so it's hard to distinguish sometimes or you get mixed up anyways about who's who.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's get dive into the progesterone question.
Let's
Let's
do it.
start
Yeah.
with number one. And this was Heather in Maastrichtland. I think this was on Instagram. What are the pros and cons of oral progesterone, especially if it helps me sleep? And that's a
And
pro,
here
right? If
we
it helps
go.
you sleep, right? There's one pro.
Okay, so there's lots of great things about oral progesterone, and it produces mostly metabolites. And some people would say that's a con, other people would say that's a pro. And so in most cases, it's very individual. We have many, many women and many more women, it seems like more and more women that are reacting to progesterone metabolites in a negative way. It can go two different ways, right? So we can have a neurosteroid sensitivity to the effects of the progesterone on our GABA receptors, which causes women to get very depressed. They can get very weepy, they can get very sleepy. And so they take progesterone, oral progesterone, and they hate it. And then there's another opposite thing that can happen. Rather than affecting GABA receptors, it can actually affect glutamate receptors and turn that up, which makes them aggro, anxiety, like just the opposite of what progesterone is supposed to do. And so seeing these paradoxical reactions to oral progesterone.
Hmm.
And naturally, we don't produce progesterone, run it through the first hepatic pass of the liver, and then through our digestive system. That's not how Mother Nature intended it. And so, if you're wanting to kind of go by Mother Nature, that could maybe be a con. We aren't supposed to take it in that way. So, I kind of see it as two different drugs when you're taking it orally. You're going to get mostly metabolites, which can have great sedative effects on the brain, help with anxiety, help with sleep. And that's why women love it so much if they react well to it, is that it helps them to sleep more so than transdermal. Transdermal progesterone, you are going to get metabolites out of it, not nearly as much as you do from taking it orally, but you do get some. And some women find that transdermal will help them to sleep. And they don't react, if they're reacting negatively to the oral, a lot of women find they can tolerate transdermal better because it's the metabolites that they're reacting to, not the actual progesterone. And then you lose most of the actual progesterone when you take it orally. So that's another negative is women are always given, oh, here's your 100 milligrams of oral progesterone. And that's like the standard dosing. They estimate we only get about 10 to 20 milligrams of actual progesterone from that oral. And sometimes I just don't see that being enough to counterbalance the estrogen and HR when someone's on HRT, especially if they're getting their estrogen to therapeutic levels. So there's pros and cons to both, and it's what works for you.
And we have to mention as well that we're assuming they're talking about progesterone because a lot of women may not even know that there's progestins, which is, we call it synthetic versus, and I don't like these words synthetic and then the natural progesterone because natural, quote unquote, progesterone is made also in a lab, right?
Yep.
It's just that it's bioidentical. It's identical to the one in your body. So I first want to, because a lot of people mix those words around. They say, oh, I'm taking progesterone, and they're taking a progestin, which is not what we're looking to have. We're trying to avoid those things if we can. And so in the US, you've got the bioidenticals Prometrium. In Europe, we've got one called Cedigestan. I don't know if you have that in Canada as well.
Mm-mm.
But then you've got the synthetic, which is like Provera, right?
Mhm.
And then when you mentioned, actually, that's when it's true in our community. We see as well women who are like, oh, I absolutely love it. And I take it at night and it helps me sleep. It helps me relax. And then you have completely the opposite. And if you remember, I think in our episodes, because we both interviewed Dr. Felice Gersh, and she was like, if you're taking progesterone, and it's making you feel sleepy and groggy and you love that, you are actually, there may be, and she just said, didn't she have evidence for this? But in her mind, she was like, wait a second, we're actually sedating the brain. We're probably not a good thing long term. And then she talked a lot about vaginal progesterone
Yes, yeah.
instead.
She may be changing her stance, Dr. Gersh. I watched her talk down at E4M in Las Vegas last year, and she found some evidence that showed that it could be detriment. I don't want to even say the word detriment because people will take this and run with it and freak out.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me just say, ladies, there are millions of women on micronized oral progesterone, and they're doing exceptionally well. We're not seeing this massive increase in heart problems or breast cancer from taking oral micronized progesterone. That said, there is very small amount of evidence that shows too much progesterone metabolites can cause breast inflammation, as well as what Dr. Gersh talks about, causing heart issues. But she doesn't have concrete evidence. She says there needs to be more research done, but now she's starting to question, should we be giving oral progesterone? And I
Hmm.
love that she's open to changing her stance on this. I think we all have to be as practitioners. It's like, what is going to be best for this woman? And if we have to suddenly change our stance on this because there's new information, then we should be changing our stance on it for
Hmm.
the safety of women. And so she thinks that maybe vaginal progesterone will be what she leans more towards moving forward.
Yeah. And she's doing all this experimentation with herself. She's looking at her clients. And that's what I think clinical research is, your experimentation or with yourself or your clients or your patients is really, really important to see how are people reacting as well. So yes, and just to clarify as well is that the cardiovascular risk is what she found is the arteries like tightening up a little bit
A little bit.
with
Yep.
the oral versus the vaginal. And so my question to her was, are you using cream or oral in the vaginally? And she said she's going to try both. So I don't know. This was last year, so I don't know if you've seen her since and all
I
that, but
haven't, but I really want her to come on the show and talk about her new findings about it because I think it is interesting. And I always say, should we mess with Mother Nature?
mhm.
Probably not, right? Like when you really think about it, she does everything on for purpose.
Yeah.
And as I said right from the beginning, we don't naturally put it through our liver, and not that we naturally put a lot of the stuff we do through our liver, right?
There's a lot
So,
of things we don't do naturally, and it's working just.
right? Yeah, and I will just quickly say there's a very large study that's ongoing with Medicare right now. It's called the 7 million study, and they studied 1 million people on HRT. And it's really interesting because the findings say that the arm of the study where women were on progestin, so the fake synthetic progesterone, as well as micronized oral progesterone, they saw an increase in breast cancer.
Hmm.
And they did, but they don't distinguish the two, like they don't pull those two apart. And it's really, you can't find the exact, like, how much were they taking? Were they taking this every day?
That's the problem. Yeah. When I went to the European Menopause and Andropause Society, there was a lot of presentations. This was in Valencia a couple months ago, all these presentations on hormones and how to deliver and the studies and the research. And a lot of the research, most of it was still on the synthetic progestins, conjugated equine estrogen, which is kind of old school. I'm like, why
Most
are we still
research
doing
has been
studies?
done on it.
Like, can't we
Yeah.
just move on?
Right?
Right? We have other
Please.
things that are better that at least, and if we don't have enough research showing that they're better, well, then let's do the research showing that.
Yes. Yes,
What
but
are we
you're right.
waiting for?
Majority of the research is on old HRT.
Yeah,
But
I
the Million
get it.
study was very diverse. It was one of the, it was a very large study and it actually replicated the same outcome as the WHI, which I thought was really cool. So it showed that women that were on the estrogen only arm actually had a reduction in breast cancer.
Hmm.
Same percentage too. It was like 21% reduction in breast cancer
And this is the conjugated equine estrogen.
and transdermal bioidentical estrogen.
Oh, they were using both in that
Yep.
study. Oh,
Yes.
interesting. Well, we want
Yeah,
the head-to-head study,
we do.
against that each other.
We
But
just have to raise a few billion and we can do this
yeah,
ourselves, right?
if anybody wants to donate, let's get the study done.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's move on. And there's the next one is about what is the best remedy for getting rid of night sweats?
Okay. What's your best remedy, Dora?
I think it's quite clear that the main trigger for night sweats is a drop in estrogen, right? And estrogen is regulating our body temperature. So to me, the gold standard is bioidentical hormone therapy. It's been proven, there's a lot of research on it. It works. When I look at other things, it's not to say ignore your diet and lifestyle. I think I always say you can't out hormone a bad diet and lifestyle. We need to work on those things anyways. But when the research that I'm looking at, when I'm like, oh, what supplements, pycnogenol or black cohosh, the research is mixed. Like you'll find studies that support it, other ones that don't. So it doesn't have the results that I'm finding in the literature as it does with bioidentical hormone therapy in general, HRT.
So I'm a night sweater and have been since day one of my perimenopause experience. At first, I did find the herbals worked wonders, and then they stopped working. HRT got rid of my hot flashes and night sweats by about 80%, but I was still waking up at least once a night in a night sweat. Few things. When I started to correct blood sugar, like really hone in on my blood sugar stability, I've always had been prone to hypoglycemia. My hot flashes and night sweats dropped extensively. So there is a massive blood sugar component to them. The other thing, caffeine and alcohol. So if you're on HRT, because I think that's the number one intervention is because that's why they start. Our temperature dysregulation starts to happen in the brain. Now we have night sweats because of this estrogen loss. Sometimes it could be from progesterone loss, but normally it's estrogen. If you've got the HRT in place, you're at an optimized level and you're still experiencing these things, now we start looking lifestyle, diet, blood sugar, how much caffeine are you drinking? In all sources is hidden. Chocolate, dark chocolate kills me. If I eat dark chocolate, I'm night sweating all night long.
Really? Wow.
Yes, it's
Wow.
terrible.
What about spicy food? I know.
And spicy food for hot flashes more so than the night sweats.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm.
yeah.
And
So
alcohol,
it
for
is good
sure.
to, and then
I know
alcohol is
a
terrible.
lot of women, yeah, who's just total sleep disruption with alcohol. And yeah, their liver's trying to process this at 2 a.m, right? It just wakes you up and then you're all hot and sweaty. And I want women to understand too, you don't have to be waking up in a dripping sweat. I'm the kind of person that I was always like asymptomatic, quote unquote, because I didn't realize that there were other symptoms, but the typical ones, I'm like, no, but I was kicking off the sheet at night. I was like, that's a menopause symptom. I now know and so it's not just, and it wasn't, yeah, again, like not dripping sweat, but there's a sign right there. And in the beginning, I was wondering, is it because I'm in Thailand and it is really hot in here? Like, and then I'd ask my husband, "Are you hot?" And so you do get confused sometimes.
Yep.
But yeah, just so you know, if you're hot, feeling hot, kicking off the sheets, that is a
Yes.
sign that you probably have a little bit low estrogen in relation to progesterone, right?
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And I hear that from a lot of women actually. They'll say, I don't get hot flashes or night sweats, but I definitely notice temperature dysregulation where they just, like you said, they're just hot at nighttime. I have an 8 sleep, and which is a mattress cover. If you've never heard of this, it's a mattress cooling cover. It cools or heats depending on where you put your temperature at. Like you set it in an app throughout the night, but it also auto adjusts. And so if my body starts to heat up, gearing up for a night sweat, my mattress will actually start cooling itself down.
Do you feel it when you like, do you
Sometimes,
wake
sometimes I
up?
wake up and it's like, okay, that's a little cold, or sometimes I'll wake up and it's too hot. But in most cases, it'll say to me that it auto adjusted, usually 30 or more times in the nighttime to keep my
Oh,
body at a comfortable temperature that helps induce deep sleep
yeah.
and good
I
sleep.
never got
I love
one.
it.
Yeah, I get a lot of people asking about it. So you love it. You think it's a good investment because
It's
it's not cheap, right?
No, it's not cheap. And it is one of the top favorite hacks that I have
Yeah.
for women. Yeah. Like I love it so much. I could not live without it.
Do you think Dr. Felice Gersh would say, like she said, for example, if you need vaginal estriol or estradiol, it's because you don't have enough estradiol running through your body. You shouldn't have to need it. A woman in her 20s who's got plenty of estradiol, she doesn't have a dry vagina. So I'm wondering, with people like you and me who are like, well, wait a second, our hormones should be optimized. Do you think she would go, nope, you got to go higher?
I think so. Yeah. I think she would say that because she's a firm believer that if you're having these symptoms still,
Hmm.
then, and including in vaginal dryness, then you need to up your estrogen, your systemic estrogen, which makes sense, right?
Hmm.
Getting them back to the levels we were at when we were younger should take care of the vaginal tissue. But we typically don't get women that high
Hmm.
because it doesn't take a ton of estrogen to optimize a woman. So she's getting that kind of protection that she needs, where she's having no joint pain. She's got a clear brain. This isn't just about getting rid of those hot flashes. It's many different things that you can get from, let's say, a milligram a day of estradiol. But that isn't bringing your levels to where you were as a cycling woman at 20.
Hmm. Yeah.
So she's saying that's even higher then,
Hmm.
which is kind of funny because she tried physiologic restoration, which for your listeners, that's a method created originally by T.S. Wiley called the Wiley Protocol, where they try and mimic, it's still very popular, try and mimic the amount that we produce of estradiol and progesterone as cycling women in menopausal women on HRT.
Hmm.
And we're talking, you're getting your estradiol 4, sometimes 10 milligrams a day.
Hmm. Yeah, so you're cycling, like you're gradually increasing it up for several days and then you're gradually bringing it down. So that's where we'll call it rhythmic, I guess.
Yeah.
Making
And
the
I
rhythm.
bet most of those women probably don't get vaginal atrophy or dryness.
No, no. I know
So
I get.
I do think that we need it. I think a lot of women need it. In the first part of my perimenopause, I was fine. I thought, oh, I have got no vaginal issues. And I recently, like about 3 or 4 months ago, I had a drop in estrogen. And how I noticed, one, my skin started looking crepey.
Hmm.
And our friend Amy Horniman said to me that she had to drop her estrogen down because she had uterine cancer. And she said she stopped it and then she just dropped it down really low. And she was on the physiologic restoration prior to that. So she
Hmm.
had to suddenly go way down in her estrogen. And she said, Karen, my skin got crepey. I need
Wow.
my estrogen back.
Yeah.
And she thrives on that much. And then I'm like, oh my God, my skin is getting crepey. And I'm like, this is a sign my estrogen is dropping. And then I started experiencing vaginal dryness. And I had never experienced that before. And I was like, well, this is stupid. I don't want this. So, like, really, do I have to get every symptom of menopause here, people? I guess so. But
But you're
so
also still cycling, so you still have your own, right? And your own
I don't
natural.
know if I am because I'm on enough estrogen to create a bleed.
Yeah. That's the thing. We'll never know
I
when
don't,
our mid
right?
birth date.
I plan to continue getting a cycle to the day I die. I know that sounds strange to people, but that means my estrogen's high enough.
Yeah, and I was thinking about the other day because my husband and I were thinking, well, I was like, you know what? I think we can ditch the condoms now. And he's like,
Oh,
what? And I'm like, I'm 55. He's like, but you still have your period. I see it. Yeah, but I think it's a fake bleed. Come on. Like, we could
yeah.
at least ditch
You'd
it.
be hard pressed to get pregnant at 55. Does that happen ever? I don't think so.
He Googled it. He's like, you see, there is a woman who's documented that had actually, they claim to have had a baby or got pregnant at 56 or something. So I'm
I
like,
cannot believe you're still using condoms.
I
Ditch
know.
that.
I
Oh my
know.
goodness.
I
That's
know.
terrible.
I know. Well, convince well, you have a little chat with Frank and let's see if
Yeah.
we can get him to ditch it. But he's like, yeah, very worried.
He's
I'm
too
like, I'm not
afraid.
worried. So, anyways, yeah, we're taking the whole, yeah, we got on a
Okay.
tangent on the Meno birth date, but let's go back.
Okay.
Let's go back. So the hot flashes, yeah, assuming because I like that you brought in that it could be your blood sugar, right? It could be
Yeah.
alcohol or
Big
caffeine. It
influence.
could be something else. But you know what I do just before we move into the next question, because I like to play around with my estrogen and progesterone as well. So if I start getting hot at night, if that comes back, I'm like, okay, I'm going to up my estradiol, but I'll do it with, I have this right here. I got it. I've got your estrogen right here. I use
Yeah.
your Karen Martel Estro Vitality, but I also use the other one, the one that's for the face.
Yep.
And so I may go at night, I go, oof, last night I was a little bit kicking off the sheet. So I'll just put a little bit more on my face. And
Yes.
so I'm trying to get more, or I'll use an extra click of my compounded one. So
Tell women to put it on their bedside table because usually a
yeah,
night sweat, it's a while. Like sometimes it's like 20 minutes. So if you wake up and you feel the heat coming on, reach for that estrogen and just give yourself a little pump. I'll rub it right on my chest and then it's like a matter of minutes. It's done. Go back to sleep.
yeah, it's a great tip. Keep it by your bedside. And
And the
sometimes women
progesterone too.
forget. They're like, oh, I forgot if they're taking it at night. Ah, I forgot. And then you get the night sweat. And so there you go.
Timing too, I'll say that is ladies split dose it. If you're on estrogen HRT, always split dose it. It runs out of your system usually within 5 to 6 hours. Some people it's even sooner. So always do, half in the morning, half at bedtime. If you are struggling more at bedtime than you are during the day with hot flashes, then take more at nighttime than you do in the morning.
How important do you think it is to get it at exactly the same time? Like you're an
No,
8
not
a.m.
important at
girl,
all.
8 p.m. or
No, nor does it matter how much. Like women will be like, I don't know, should I be pumping like a hard pump of your estrogen cream or like a little mini pump? Like, what is considered a pump? And what if I get too much? And what if I'm like, look, our hormones are changing hour to hour, day to day, week to week, year to year. They are never static, ever. So if one day you're getting a milligram and the next day you're getting two, and then the next day you're getting 0.25, that's actually more physiological, I think, than the opposite. So do not stress about it. The only thing you're looking out for is are you optimized and do you have a relief of all your symptoms? Because if you don't, then that's telling you do need a dose adjustment.
hmm. What about if you forgot and you skipped it entirely and you didn't have any reaction, but then you wake up going, oh my God, I forgot to take my nighttime dose.
I
Same thing.
always do.
No
Oh
big
my
deal.
God. Yeah. I mean, the menopause brain, like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
things happen. Like, I'll forget that I haven't changed my estrogen patch for 4 days. And I'm like, oh, I guess I'm probably not getting anything from this anymore. When I'm lazy and I'll forget to put because I always put an extra pump on now in the mornings. Sometimes I'll even do it at nighttime. So I'm changing it constantly.
Uh-huh. Okay.
No
Okay.
problem.
Yeah, I just
No problem.
picked up my testosterone, like you can see right here, because I ran out, and they gave me the wrong formula. I didn't like the Simpson they break, and I was like, God, now I'm like 3 days without my testosterone,
Oh, I'll go
and
weeks without taking my testosterone.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then
But
I'm
I've been
using it
told by
again.
another menopause or hormone expert, no, 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 your body wants to have this all the time, and I'm like,
It does, but it's not detrimental in the sense of if you
yeah,
miss a day, It's not a big deal. Like I do injectable. So I'll do an injection and then sometimes I'll go 2 weeks without an injection just to give my receptors a break because
Yeah.
testosterone gets very dulled. Like the effects of it has a very strong negative feedback loop. So sometimes I'll use more than other times. And I like to kind of have it go up and down with my levels. But testosterone stipulate can be a week, 10 days, even longer in the system. It can
This
be
is the
2 weeks.
yeah, I've got a good question. Remember when I called you, I was texting you, and I'm sure there are other women like this. These are great questions.
They are.
I think these are problems we all deal with all the time. Remember when it must have been the first time I skipped a period. Oh yeah, I had my surgery and I missed a
Mm.
period. And I'm like, wait a second, now what do I do? Because do I wait until it comes back or do I bring back my pretend I had a cycle, kind of calculate the day that I had my cycle, that I would have had my cycle, even it skipped, and then try to do cycle in I
Yep.
think it was my progesterone. It was my progesterone. Do I cycle it in? Do I leave it? And you had a great answer for me. Do you remember?
Yes, and I get this a lot because when we're in our late perimenopause, the period's all over the bloody map. And so sometimes I'll go a month without one, 2 months without one. Sometimes I've gone 3 months without that. And then suddenly I'm getting it every 2 weeks. Like and this is a person on HRT for heaven's sakes, a hormone practitioner. And so this is very normal, everyone. And you do the best you can. But if you stop your progesterone, so you're cycling it, normally, let's say then you would get your period, but it doesn't show up. Pretend it did. Start counting to day 14 and start taking your progesterone. And if the period happens to come in let's say a week later, then you start over and you start counting from day one.
But I'm like a 25-day girl for the last, I don't know, couple of
So you would
years.
start day 10, day 12. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we adjust. We got to adjust. Okay. I hope that was helpful for you girls. The next question is does HRT patches cause Alzheimer's for women who start after 60?
Absolutely not. And actually can still be beneficial for the brain even after the age of 60, estradiol. What they've seen in the research is the sooner you started, the more brain protection you're going to get. For
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
And also, the more you use, there is a dose thing that they've seen where they see that the higher the estradiol is, the more brain protection the woman's going to get, as well as the longer she's on it and the sooner she's on it when she's in menopause, the more benefit.
If you remember, I don't know if you heard this episode, Dr. Lindsay Berkson, and she's been treating women through menopause for, I think, 4 decades now. And I always remember she said, you want to look at your FSH level. And that's for brain protection. Don't quote me on this, but it definitely was under 20. She's a 5. So I think she kind of really wants it under 20. And how do you get it under 20? Well, you take more estradiol, but of course, balancing out all the hormones as you go along. But the FSH was a marker that she was looking at for brain protection.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that can correlate with FSH. I haven't heard that one before, and I haven't heard that to get it that low. I'm surprised she would say that because I don't think she's on that high of a dose of estradiol. And you usually need to be on quite a high dose. So the Wiley protocol, going back to the physiologic restoration, their goal is to get you around the 5 with FSH by using a lot of estradiol. And
Mhm.
so most cases when women are around that 1 milligram dose, you're looking between 20 and 35 usually of the FSH. So that's interesting, but that I don't think it's the FSH. It's just that's the marker of you're getting enough estrogen.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
estradiol, not estriol. And
Yes.
let's be very clear about that. But the one study out of Arizona it showed for women that were on it for 6 years or longer postmenopause had the really, really great brain protection from
Mhm.
Alzheimer's and dementia, like between 70 and 80%.
Yeah, we have to remember, I think most of the research is showing that, but I think this woman, I remember when this study came out in March 2025. So I think there was somebody shared this. It was a news show or something somebody shared with me. And then I went and I looked for the study and it was looking at women. It was like 70 women more or less, and they were all I think they were all over the age of 70 who started HRT like a decade before. And then they found out that they had more tau protein, which is a hallmark of Alzheimer's, but they didn't see any difference in their amyloid beta plaque. And that's the stuff that we're looking for. So I think it was more like, oh, it's a higher risk of dementia, but it had nothing to do with Alzheimer's. And then I was looking at the study, I was like, what were they using? What kind of hormones were they taking? And it didn't say, if I recall correctly, but it was, you could assume it was probably using the synthetic conjugated equinestrogen and the progestins and things like that, because that's usually what the most research has been using. And that's, I think we could only make that as, I just can't remember. I remember not being able to find the formula, and I was like, they're probably just using the synthetics. As
I think so. I think the equine estrogens were brain protective, like
only, I
very,
think it was only, but I
yes,
think it was, but
but
if you
not
had it
with
with
the
a
progestins.
progestin, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Then we're talking, which makes sense. It's the progestins that were really the toxic chemical.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
there are some, like when you start to research that, you will find little pockets of research that say that there's no effect from HRT on brain. And come on.
Yeah, yeah.
And luckily, Lisa Mosconi I think she just published a paper last year, did she not, showing
Yeah.
the benefits of HRT,
Oh
estrogen
yeah.
to the
Yeah,
brain.
yeah. She's,
Yeah.
if you go read her book, it's all about the receptors of estrogen receptors in the brain. And it's very, very clear in my mind
Yeah.
that
And
it's,
even Dale Bredesen, he's the leading researcher in Alzheimer's. And I had him on my show, and he said up front, oh my gosh, yes, like hormones have so much to do with it. You want to replace thyroid, estradiol, progesterone, testosterone. Testosterone's really important for our brain.
hmm.
Progesterone helps with the myelin sheaths, the little protective sheaths around our nerves in the brain.
Yeah, I just interviewed Dr. Terry Walls. She's all about, she has MS. She's
Yep.
reversed it. She's very famous for this TED talk that she did, and she's got a whole program around the Walls protocol. And I asked her, I had her on again a second time. I had her on a long time ago, and I had her on again a second time because my audience asked for her. So I was like, okay, let's get her back on. And she clearly stated, yeah, hormones are a very important part for neurodegenerative diseases. It's pretty
Yeah.
clear. So I think it's good. Earlier the better. That's very, very clear. Now, with you start, if this woman is in her 60s and she wants to get started, then I would say find a very qualified menopause doctor who can help you and guide you through this, answer your questions and your concerns, and give you the information that you need. And it's usually what I learned from Dr. David Rosensweet when going through his program, the Menopause Method. He was teaching the doctors to just go low and slow with somebody who's older. Look at obviously all of the other biomarkers. It's not just about hormones. Maybe they're insulin resistant. Maybe they got other issues that need to be addressed. But always look at their cardiac markers, everything that you would maybe be concerned about, and then you just guide her through. And he's got plenty of women who started HRT after the age of 60, and they're doing great. So
Yeah.
just need to find the right person who can help you.
Yep.
Okay, next question. We had only, gosh, we got more, but we only have a few more minutes, maybe about 10, 20 minutes. The next question is DHEA safe to take with estradiol and progesterone? I am currently on both the estradiol patch and oral progesterone. I've been on HRT for 3 years. My testosterone level is very low, around 2, while my estradiol level is at 125. I'm assuming picograms. I'd previously tried testosterone gel through my doctor, but didn't like how it made me feel and so expensive through compounding pharmacy. I've heard DHEA can be a gentler, more natural way to support testosterone levels in women. Is it safe to use DHEA alongside a hormone regimen?
Absolutely. But I would not depend on it to increase your testosterone. I have seen thousands of labs. I never, ever see it working to raise testosterone to good levels if someone has truly low levels of testosterone. So
Mhm.
for her, I would say talk to your doctor about trying testosterone cypionate if the cream didn't work for you. Testosterone cypionate can
What's
be
that?
much
What's
better.
testosterone
So
cypionate?
then suspended in an oil and you inject it
Oh, okay.
subcutaneous,
Okay.
intramuscular. Most women prefer to do it sub Q. It's a once a week or twice a week injection. It slowly releases throughout the body. We just have much better luck with it, and it's much more affordable. And then she could play around with the dosing until she finds a dose that makes her feel good, right? So you would just use less. So she could give that a try. DHEA, though, is an extremely important hormone. It does deplete with age, just like all the rest of the hormones. It is a prohormone. So, yes, it does help to make estradiol, it helps to make testosterone. We just don't see it having this massive impact on our levels. I never see it.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, you see it because if you do some research, you'll say it'll increase. It can convert into testosterone,
Yeah,
and
and it does. It's just not in
it's
high enough
it's just
amounts.
very low levels, and probably not enough to combat the symptoms that women are having, whether it's low libido or low motivation. Then if you're not
Yeah.
feeling it, I mean, if you do, then maybe you can. But again, you see thousands of women. You've read so many blood tests that,
I
yeah,
think in combination, like if somebody can't get testosterone and they want help raising their testosterone, I would 100% put DHEA in that protocol.
yeah.
Because even if it helps a little bit, that's great. Plus, it counterbalances the catabolic effects of cortisol. It's very anabolic, helps with our blood sugar, which all of these things can also help boost that testosterone. We have to remember testosterone, we make more than half of it outside of the ovaries. And
Mm.
so menopause, you have the ability to bring up those testosterone levels
Mm.
naturally. So using a combination of DHEA, maca can be good, zinc, boron, tongata leaf, Fredosia orestes, all of these same things that men use to bring up testosterone, women can have success with that too. So it's best to do it as a combination.
What about, have you seen, because strength training is supposed to increase
Yeah.
testosterone levels too, so building more muscle should help. But do you know if it's just not significant enough? It's just an add-on.
Not. And then it's like the chicken or the egg thing. It's like some women, if their testosterone is really low, they'll say, I'm working out and I'm lifting heavy and I'm not putting muscle on because they don't
Yeah,
have any testosterone.
yeah, you're right.
It can
Yeah.
help. It's that holistic protocol that you have to do to raise the testosterone naturally.
Yeah. What do you feel about? I get a lot of women telling me they like the DHEA in Dr. Anna Kabeka's Jolva for vaginal stuff. It's not quite for libido or all that, but if you're dry vagina, and they seem to like that. Have you
I
is
have
DH?
heard this from so many women that have used DHEA vaginally, how absolutely incredible it is for vaginal dryness. I myself have found that the same thing. And you'll be happy to know I have a vaginal moisturizer coming out next week.
Oh,
I don't know if it's
really?
being aired, but next week it's called Velvet V, and
Love
it
it.
has DHEA and estriol in it, the two things that have been shown time and time again in clinical experience as well as research to really, really help with vaginal atrophy and dryness.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay, send me
it's
a
a very
bottle when
clean
that comes.
product. It's great. It's over the counter, ladies. We've got coupon code and everything for you, so check it out.
Oh, that's good because what I love
Yeah.
about your creams, I know that there's no nasties in there. Like
Yeah,
you,
but I do have to say hers is fantastic. Jolva's great. Women love Jolva, and
yeah.
I love Rebecca. She's amazing.
Yeah, she's got a very clean product, and that's why I've been recommending it. I see get some good feedback, but yeah, I don't like people buying who knows what with what chemicals and then putting inside your vagina. I prefer to play it safer and go with you now.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. I'm so excited to see that. And I like that because you added the estriol, which is clearly, yeah, clearly going to have an impact. And so those two together is just going to be amazing. Okay, next question. Low dopamine due to sudden loss of hormones on HRT, but still struggling.
Okay. So in cases of, I don't know why she thinks she has low dopamine, but
Hmm.
yes, estradiol affects dopamine. It helps us to be more sensitive to dopamine, helps it to stick around longer, even can help with a little bit of the production side of things. And so some women are very impacted by the loss of estrogen on their mental health and the other hormones too. And so if you feel like your mental health is still struggling, even though you're on HRT, you need to look at how your dosing is. Do you need more? It's going back to that, what we were talking about with Felice Gersh saying the vaginal atrophy shouldn't happen and we shouldn't have to use a lot on the outside right on the vagina if our levels are high enough in the body. And that same with if menopause was the trigger for the depletion of your dopamine. So you didn't have mental health issues before, and then suddenly you're in perimenopause and menopause, and you're suddenly feeling low, depressed, you're not getting pleasure out of life anymore, maybe you got more anxiety, and you're on and you start HRT and you don't really notice anything. I would talk to your practitioner then about adjusting the dose and trialing. And this is all we can do. We have to biohack ourselves. You guys are all biohackers if you're listening to Zora. And don't be afraid, I don't think, to increase. These are hormones that you've lived with for the majority of your life in copious amounts. And so to go, I'm going to double my estrogen for a month and I'm going to see if I notice a mental health increase, like better mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Check it out.
And it could also be the delivery method is not working
It
for you.
could
You're not
be.
absorbing
Yes.
it. And so it's could be dosage, could be amounts, it could be the delivery method. It can move from a cream to an oral or from a gel to a patch. And we're all different. It's
Yeah.
incredible how to see the variety of women who
There's
get
no
different.
one size fits all
And then
hormone.
it changes, especially when we're perimenopause and we're like, oh, we got to change again and again. And as we age and as our skin gets different, right, we may not absorb it as well either. Maybe we need to put on a different body part as well. Or we have, it's called with the skin fatigue or something like that, where we just,
Which
yeah,
I've heard isn't true, but yes,
really?
some people say you should always rotate your sites. I hear that's not true, but some people say it is. So who knows? Try
Yeah.
it, see if it works. Some people need to go to injection because their skin's thick and they can't, the patch doesn't work, cream doesn't work, and they have to do injectable estrogen. We've had that with some of our clients. So if you're seeing a doctor, it's this way or no way, move on
Yeah.
because you need to be looked at as an individual. We all need different things. There's no one size fits all protocol when it comes to HRT. And I will just say, I listened to this great video of a monk talking about women, and he never actually said menopause, but I think he was very clearly talking about this transitional period that women go through. And I've heard this before. I've watched Wayne Dyer's Shift. I don't know if you've watched that, Zora. Oh, it's so great. Everybody should watch it. It's on YouTube. It's free. It's a movie. He stars himself in this cheesy show, but it's all about the different shifts that we have through life. And women going through the perimenopause and menopause phase, we go through a massive spiritual shift. And maybe you're not into this, but if you are, and you're on your HRT, you've optimized your HRT and you're still feeling low, like something's missing, your mood's different, you feel unsettled, you feel like maybe something needs to change in your life. Listen to that because spiritually, this is a massive shift. It's not just about losing these hormones, but we are going into the second half of our life in a totally different way. What used to be important to us no longer, it's still important, but it's no longer relevant. We've had the children, we've probably married, we've found the spouse that we want to be with at this point in our life or the job. And so now it's kind of, what do I want? Where am I going with this now in life when I don't have to take care of so many people? And women can feel very lost and they can feel very depressed because they just don't know their purpose anymore. And they don't know how to identify with who they are anymore because they're no longer a mother 24/7, or maybe they've got divorced at this point, or they're in the same job, but that's not what they're interested in anymore. So I think it's important to also look at the mental space that we're in and relate it to our spirituality and where are we and what do we want now.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because we always think, oh, it's hormones, hormones, and hormones do play a big part. But think about, yeah, different shifts in life. Absolutely. And we can choose. We have a lot of choice. Sometimes we have obligations or things that are holding us back, but you can make these shifts and a little bit of reflection. And I think we living such busy lives in our modern society that we often don't take the time. So if you can carve out maybe a weekend just yourself, just be alone and you can take a holiday just on your own. Go, even you don't just go to the next city, rent an
Yeah.
Airbnb and just leave your phones and journal. I think sometimes this is the best reflection, and you get a moment to say, what do I want? And what do I do moving forward? Because if you don't, and you're in your same environment with the same triggers and the same rhythm, you just fall into this routine. And I think coming out of the routine just by a little holiday on your own is a chance to reflect. So that's
So
your
too.
goals.
Yeah. Yeah. Well
Okay.
said.
One more question. Okay. What, this is a big one. What can you expect from starting estrogen?
Oh,
A whole lot.
so many things.
Or nothing.
Oh,
I've had some women be like, I
yeah,
don't know. I
true.
don't feel anything.
True. I have
But
had
things
that
happen.
too.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it depends how
there's a lot.
bad you got it.
Yeah. I mean, I think when you do it correctly and you find the right dose, it's magic. That's the magic that you hear women talking about. You have better sleep, you have better mood, your brain fog's gone, you got more energy, weight is finally
Libido.
coming out, libido, like all the great things, all the
Yeah,
hot
yeah.
flashes and things are gone. But when it's not, those things can get exacerbated or worse, or you get the breast tenderness, or you get some bloating or weight gain, or it's overstimulation of the body and even depression. So that's when you don't get it right. So it can happen. It's not like I had a lot of women who are like, "What happened? I thought it was going to be all magical when I started." And
And then they gain weight, they have sore breasts, there's a breakthrough bleeding, and they're like, why? Why me? Don't think that this is like the end all, where there's so much you can do. Like we've just talked about delivery form, dosage. Sometimes people have to go much slower. And if you have a bad reaction to estrogen when you first start it, it's typically then a sign that we need to go more upstream and say, okay, is this woman, is she drinking a lot? That has a massive impact on how your body tolerates estrogen. Are you heavily stressed out? Have you been without hormones for a really long time? Because then you're going to have an exaggerated response. Are your detoxification pathways not doing very well? You're not metabolizing estrogen very well. You have to start then looking outside of just the HRT to go, what else could be affecting you and how you're processing your estrogen?
yeah, I've interviewed so many doctors too oh, not so many, but some who say, well, I won't give HRT if she's not going to be compliant and try to go through the detox pathways and at least try to get her life healthy, the diet and lifestyle, because they want them to be to detox from what it is that they're giving them rather than just, okay, here's your prescription, goodbye. And I think that's some of the problems with these online quick services, and they'll just give you your dosage without talking to you about changes in diet and lifestyle that need to be done. And so I think that's just a really, really important piece. And I know that you do, and you walk through all your clients and your group and your community, and you're doing such an amazing job because you help with the hormones, but you do make it clear that there's so many other things that can and should be done, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Let's go with the last question we have. This is an easy one. Is zero point 0.6 milligrams of biased cream a small dosage?
Zero point 0.6 milligrams of
Wait.
bias.
0.06 milligrams of biased cream.
Yes, that's nothing.
Extremely low.
Extremely low. Normal, which shouldn't say normal. A very common dose is 5 milligrams, and that will be 4 milligrams of estriol to 1 milligram estradiol.
Okay, yeah. If it's bias, what people, if you don't know, it's estriol and estradiol, but there's 80% of it is estriol, which is the quote unquote
Sometimes.
weaker. What?
Only sometimes. There's some doctors that will do
Yeah,
50-50, but the
yeah.
most common percentage is 80-20.
They start often at 80-20, and then there's 20% of the estradiol, which is much more potent, but yeah, or you can do 50-50, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But you would think, yeah, so on top of that, so not only is it a very low dosage, but you're getting a more, well, if you're doing the 80-20, then you're getting more of the weaker estrogen as well. And when you think about, I think I calculated 0.06 milligrams of biased was 0.048 milligrams of estriol and 0.0112 milligrams of estradiol. Does that sound right?
It does sound right. If
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, because it's 80,
extremely low
if that's
dosage.
80-20, if it's the 80-20,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's extremely low. So if you want to say a low dosage of an estradiol cream, like a low dosage, I think would be around 0.25, maybe to zero point
Yes.
0.5 milligrams. So
Yeah.
that's much more than what you're getting 0.012 of milligrams of
That
estrogen.
wouldn't even make a dent.
It won't make it
You
up.
wouldn't you wouldn't see any difference, I don't think, in your numbers on your labs with that little amount.
Yeah, yeah, it's very small. So, anyways, we're gonna have to wrap up. I'm gonna have to let you go, but I'm so happy you came and joined me for this Q&A. It's so much more fun to do it together than
Isn't it?
by
Yes.
yourself. You
We're gonna
should do
do
this
this
more often.
again. Yes, we absolutely should.
If you girls liked this episode, please reach out to Karen and me and let me know you want more of it. And we'll get your questions answered. We'll make the list and just bang it out and go off on
Yep.
tangents and other questions and help you out.
We do best. The
Oh,
Meno
so
Besties.
yes, definitely. I want you girls to, if you don't know Karen yet, oh my gosh, where have you been? But go find her on KarenMartel.com. She's got a great hormone quiz if you're not really sure where you are in your journey. And I'll have a link to that in the show notes. And you've got a fabulous program that I'm a part of as well. And I learned so much from you and your guests. And you do so much in your community, I have to say, like really guiding women through their labs and just it's awesome. It's awesome. And it's not only you, but you've got your whole team around you. And is there a discount with that? This,
Yes. Yep.
yeah.
Same as it was before. What do you
Okay.
have?
50% off.
Yep.
You're still offering.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you, Karen. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And if you want to try her creams, go to KarenMartel.com and you can just go to little shop and you get 10% off with the code ZORA, ZORA. Thank you very much, Karen. And I'm going to have links to your Facebook, Instagram, your YouTube, all the wonderful places, and of course, your fabulous podcast, The Hormone Solution. So thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, everyone who's listened to the end. And Karen, I hope you have an awesome day.
Thanks, everyone.